It all comes down to money. Like allocating a lot of money to the quarterback position it's difficult to build a roster that way. And if you can go on a rookie contract with one of those young guys, if the Giants do decide to go in that direction, it's going to help the Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll era. So, like I said, it would have to be one of those contracts.
Would you pay him Tannehill money if he has a good season?
I'm sorry?
Would you pay him Tannehill money if he has a good season?
I think Tannehill has a pretty hefty contract.
$78 million. I think they gave him a $78 million contract. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was 4 years, $78 million.
3 years.
3 years, $78 million.
So that comes out to be
20-something million.
Yeah, back at 27, something like that.
I mean, that's not too hefty from what the quarterbacks are making now. I mean, Dak Prescott's making $41 million.
Somebody said Dallas was smart.
I mean, Kyler Murray's making $43. I mean, Lamar Jackson was offered $43. Aaron Rodgers is making $50. I mean, the Patrick Mahomes is making, I think this year, it's still on the lower side. I think he's making like 31, 32. It gets higher.
It averages out to 45, though, eventually.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to get that money, but Tannehill money, 24, 23, I would do that. I would give him that money if he has a good season, throws 4,000 yards, 20-something touchdowns, and he throws, let's say, 22 and 11. I think that's a good year with the wide receiving core that he has.
It all depends on the system. It depends on how he rises to the occasion in those high leverage spots. And also, with me, I just want to see him get better processing pre to post snap whenever he believes the defense is going to be one thing and it is not. There's a safety rotation. There's a blitz that's unexpected. I felt like he did a better job last year throwing hot and getting the football out of his hands when a blitz did come. But the pre to post snap processing when the coverage is not what he thought from pre to post. That's the thing that little hesitation that he has. That's the thing that works against him. And you need to be really, really quick. And I think he has NFL arm talent. It's not like you said, Mahomes. It's none of those things. I think he has the athletic ability. That's great. But another thing he has to do is stay healthy. So that there are a lot of things that I feel like Daniel Jones has to do to earn a long-term contract here. I'm not averse to doing something small and something that the Giants can get out of if they don't like any of these kids coming out of the draft class. He's young. Right. He's athletic. He's taking to Brian Daboll's coaching. He showed growth and development. But to lock him up long-term, I just don't think that's something the Giants are going to do. And typically these new regimes don't do that. I think he's the perfect quarterback for this year because the Giants are somewhat in a little bit of they're not going to call it this, but a little bit of a rebuild right now. You have a lot of young talent who come in. You have great offensive line foundation. The interior I'm a little bit worried about right now, but two of those tackles, man, drafted in the top 10, that's freaking awesome. Kayvon Thibodeau, you have some young pieces, but you're going to have a lot of cap space next year. Right now they have nothing. They have nothing. And I think there are two huge question marks in Daniel Jones. Is he going to be here next year? But not even just Daniel Jones. You got Saquon Barkley. Those are two of the faces of the franchise right now who are the faces of the offense going into 2022 who might not even be here next year. So this is such a transitional year for the New York Giants. And ultimately, I just don't know what the long-term outlook is for Daniel Jones. I think if he balls out and does great, like you suggested, and like he could, I think the short-term contract that doesn't have a ton of money tied up into it might be best for both parties because you want to see consistent play at the NFL level.
So I'll move on to Saquon Barkley now, another guy that's in a contract year after this year too. So
he's gone no matter what.
What do you think the Giants ultimately end up doing with him? And what do you think maybe is the statistical minimum or maybe skill-wise you'd have to see from Saquon off those 2 years in a row with the injuries in order to prove that they should pay him? Because running backs don't get paid very often.
I think you just answered it right there, Speedy Petey. I don't think you should allocate that much money to Saquon Barkley or the running back position in general. It's a position that has a ton of turnover. It's a position that has just been completely devalued in the NFL. And we've seen just some horrendous contracts really tank the flexibility of front offices. Todd Gurley with the Rams. And you know what? Give credit to Les Snead. He got out of that. He ate the dead cap and he was able to rebuild that in a very unique manner. Then you have Ezekiel Elliott, as we see with our NFC East foe. That contract is not something you really want on your books. And Saquon Barkley, I think if he has a great year, again, you don't want to give him a long-term deal, but that's what he's going to demand because he is such a unique talent that there could be another NFL team that is willing to outbid you for him. So I think he's going to probably be somewhere else next year. Franchise tag, I don't know the numbers to that. That's something I guess that could be floated out, something that could be entertained. You know, John Mara wants to do right by Saquon, and he loves Saquon Barkley. So I think that's something that if he does have a great season, better than 2018, and he proves he's healthy and he's durable and he catches 90 passes and he's just wildly productive, I think maybe they might explore the franchise tag because they do have so much cap room. But you got to take this sometimes, a week at a time, maybe even a day at a time to really find out what you want to do with the longevity of the team. But just to answer your question, I guess, I don't think they're going to give him a long-term contract. That's where I lean.
As everybody knows, we are talking to Big Blue Banter, Big Blue View writer and podcast host Nick Falato. Nick, I look at the NFC East. It's so very interesting. And the way this schedule, falls for the New York Giants, a lot of experts think the Giants could win 8 games this year, as a matter of fact. And if they win 8 games, that has them falling out of the top 10 in the draft. And I know everybody keeps saying, stop talking about the draft because the draft is far away. But if the Giants are looking to draft a quarterback, and that's probably what they're planning to do if they want to move back and they want to keep control of the cap, something like new coaching and new management likes to do. You look at the Giants right now, if they fall out of the top 10, they're saying that the 5 quarterbacks that could be drafted in the first round this year could be top 10 picks. So where do they go? And that's the problem. So if they win 8 games, and I think that division is open for grabs because I don't trust the Cowboys. They can't stay healthy. They lost Smith for a significant amount of time, could be for the whole season. They have a rookie tackle now that they're expecting to show up and play every single week. By the way, couldn't stay healthy in college. Now you have him playing and starting right now in the NFL, which bigger, stronger, faster guys coming off the line.
But at least they have CeeDee Lamb.
And then you have the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, that have a new quarterback in Carson Wentz. Yes, he knows the NFC East. That's great. But then you're going to a new team, new coaching staff, new everything, and you're expected to be the savior of a Washington team, which, one, their owner's an idiot, and he's probably going to get thrown into jail one way or another. 2, it's run by a bunch of morons as far as the coaching staff is concerned. And 3, we don't know where their offense is coming. Is it going to come from the running game? I have McLaurin and a bunch of my leagues. Is McLaurin going to actually touch the ball with that offensive line this year? That's going to be the question. Because let's be honest, that offensive line, which was pretty good last year, is not the same offensive line this year. And then, to top it all off, the one team that everybody thinks is so much better than they were last year, and a playoff team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Jordan Davis, everybody loves. Good for them. A.J. Brown, fantastic. They just made a trade today to add
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Great move by them. They're getting better and better every single day. Some people say that roster is as good as any roster in the NFC now. But they got a quarterback that you can't trust, okay? And that's a huge problem in that division, which honestly probably has the worst quarterback play in all of football. So where does this division go? Could the Giants actually come out as the winners of the NFC East, being that, yes, the quarterback play, you don't know. I think Daniel Jones could be just as good as any one of these guys. So what are your thoughts to the NFC East, and where do you think the Giants line up in that division?
I think if Daniel Jones could be Dak Prescott, that would be amazing, to be honest. That's my opinion. I think the Eagles are the team to beat in the division. I think their offensive line is one of the best. They have such a unique and diverse rushing attack. Their bag of tricks in the run game, it's not quite Kyle Shanahan, but it was really impressive. And the fact that you had Jalen Hurts be a huge contributor to that, a huge asset to that, really helped him be a successful quarterback. But you're right, man. He has to be able to challenge the middle of the field. He likes throwing outside. He doesn't mind throwing outside the numbers. But asking him to throw in the middle of the field is something that he hasn't consistently proven. So that's something he has to develop. And if he does, I think the sky's the limit for the Eagles, unfortunately, because of the additions they made on defense and then the receiving core and all that. But a lot of pressure falls on Jalen Hurts. But as for the Giants, before training camp, I said I felt like they could win 8 games. And I still think that. I might temper it a little bit. These injuries on the offensive line, they concern me a little bit. And then the secondary, I'm not too confident in. But I still think they can get to 7-8 wins. And it's not because the Giants are this great football team or anything like that. It's because their schedule is easy, man. They're playing the AFC South. Last year, the AFC division they played was the West. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, the Raiders, who they ended up defeating, Denver, who they lost to in week 1. And then they play Carolina and then Seattle. I mean, Seattle is not the Seattle of old. No.
They also hung tough with the Chiefs.
Geno
remember?
Smith is their starter. Give me a break.
Exactly.
Are you fearing Geno Smith? I mean, I don't.
No, of course not.
I wouldn't. So
He's saving it all for the Jets.
Well, and then you also have NFC North. So you have the Green Bay Packers, who you play in London. I believe it's London. It's somewhere in England, somewhere not in the United States.
Of course.
So that game's probably a loss. Minnesota, you play them on Christmas Eve. It's a good football team. Might not win that one. But the Bears, the Lions, those are some winnable games right there. The Giants are playing, I think, 5 or 6 teams that would have picked in the top 10 if they didn't trade their picks. Seattle and Chicago is who I'm talking about. So all of those teams are in rebuilding situations. That doesn't mean the Giants will defeat them, but these are winnable football games. And if the ball bounces the right way, and if Daniel Jones rises to the occasion like maybe he can, then the Giants can win those football games and maybe just be a competitive team in December. And at this point, dude, I think every Giant fan would sign up for that if they want to win. Some Giant fans just want to tank right now and get one of those top picks. And you know what? Part of me understands that because you have the long term in mind. Part of me definitely understands that. But if you're looking to compete this year, the Giants could be interesting in December, and that's not something that they could say.
Dable's not going to do that.
Or it wouldn't be purposeful.
He would not do that. He would not throw away his season to see what he has on that roster.
No coach would ever do that.
Well, not to say there are a couple of Jets coaches I would have picked out that probably would have done that. I'm a Jet fan, and I'll just tell you the truth. I could pick a bunch of Jet coaches that probably would have just say, you know what, let's lose. Next year we're going to get a top 10, top 5 pick, and we'll get a quarterback, or we'll get a defensive lineman that'll help us win.
There was a particular,
and it never did.
There was a particular Eagles coach that all the Giants fans were blaming 2 years ago for trying to do that because they needed them to win against Washington to get in.
Oh, man, the Doug Peterson game. Nate Sudfeld. Gotta love it, Speedy
Petey. That's right. I don't think he's even there anymore.
No, he's not.
No, he was just released by the 49ers, actually.
Oh.
Maybe it gets picked up by Philly again.
Maybe.
Jacksonville. He has such a good relationship with Dougie P.
Please.
There you go. So it'll be the complete spot. Because the Eagles now have Gardner Minshew. It'll be an informal trade.
I feel so bad for Trevor Lawrence. I really do. If there's any quarterback that didn't deserve where he was drafted, it was him. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure today he's probably wishing, all I needed was one more pick. I could have been a Jet. I would have had a better chance of winning over there in New York than in this crappy place. I mean, seriously, I don't know how he succeeds over there. I mean, you bring Doug Peterson there. He's a puppet. That's what he is. The only reason why they brought him there is because he's the only one that agreed to everything that was said over there to management. Okay, we want this guy on your roster.
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah,
they just had to keep Trent Baalke. Otherwise, they would have had Byron Leftwich.
And I think Doug Peterson is a great coach. He won a Super Bowl. He is a great coach. But I think he's a puppet, and I don't know how long that's going to last over there. So I just feel bad for Trevor Lawrence.